it's a foregone conclusion that Xi Jinping is going to get his third presidential term and, in essence, is aiming to be president for life. But in order to get there, what he's doing is suppressing any criticism of his policies. And there are, huge mistakes that he's making. His zero COVID policy, the opposite of what the rest of the world is doing, means that China is stuck in these endless lockdowns and it's beginning to have serious economic consequences. Xi Jinping's fear of anybody else with power means that he's been attacking some of the most vibrant sectors of the Chinese economy, even the tech firms, because he's afraid that these leaders of those firms are more, or at least becoming significantly influential. They're not more influential than he is, but he doesn't want any competitors for power. And so we've seen, steps like that. Even the investment-led development strategy, which has, led to growth in gross domestic product year to year, but now is really, facing a huge crisis because of this debt-driven investment in residential structures that are not needed and can no longer be afforded. And so we see these, enormous economic problems facing China, which are very much a product of Xi Jinping's doing, his effort to sort of suppress any criticism. And that's not even mentioning the severe repression that is taking place, crimes against humanity, targeting Uyghur and other Turkic Muslims in Xinjiang with 1 million people locked up to force them to abandon their religion, their language, and their culture. The ripping up of the one country, the one country, two systems agreement for Hong Kong, essentially reasserting a dictatorship over Hong Kong and killing its economic vibrancy. The ongoing suppression of other minorities, whether they're Tibetans or Inner Mongolians, and the suppression of really all forms of civil society, any effort to assert the rule of law over government officials. I mean, all of this represents a huge step backwards for the modest progress that we had seen in China, beginning with the Deng Xiaoping era. I should say that, even though this is a very difficult moment for China, even though it does seem that Xi Jinping is, entrenching his power forever, with his third and probably, fourth and fifth term coming up, I remain optimistic because Xi Jinping is living a lie. He's living a lie that he is the chosen leader of the Chinese people. He's living a lie that the best way to advance China is through dictatorship. And you cannot keep a lie going forever. The truth is very powerful. And so I am confident that, with time, the frailties of autocratic rule, the inevitable huge mistakes that people make when they don't tolerate criticism or free debate, that this is going to become more and more apparent. We're seeing this today with Vladimir Putin, who similarly is trying to build up a dictatorship for life, similarly surrounds himself with sycophants, and he made the huge mistake of invading Ukraine. It is devastating for not only Ukraine, but for Russia. And I fear that Xi Jinping is in the process of making similar massive mistakes. We're seeing beginnings of this with his zero COVID policy, with his attacks on the vibrant sectors of the economy, with his, misguided strategies such as endless debt-driven investments without any real return, not to mention his severe repression in Xinjiang and elsewhere. So I fear we're beginning to see these mistakes, and over time, the Chinese people will have more and more opportunity to say, this is not the kind of leadership we want. We want a leader who respects our rights, not who thinks that he somehow is above rights and knows better than all of us how we want our country governed.